Do you want to make some serious GP in Old School RuneScape but don't know where to start? Whether you're a fresh account, a mid-level grinder, or a high-level boss hunter, there's something in this roadmap for you. We're going from easy to endgame. You don't have to be a sweat to make bank, just pick the right boss for your level, learn the mechanics, and send it. My channel is all about getting you to the end game. Making money and buying shiny gear is awesome, but what really matters is mastering the mechanics. The bosses in this video will help you to do both. Earn GP to upgrade your account, whilst gradually introducing the core mechanics and skills that actually matter for high level PVM. Before we get started, remember all prices are estimates and are dependent on player efficiency, stats, gear, current market prices, and of course RNG. First up, the Barrows, a classic old school money maker. There are 6 Barrows brothers in their crypts in Mauritania. You can defeat all of them and loot their treasure chest. You'll need to have completed Priest in Peril to access the area. You can make up to 700k per hour with really good gear, though at the bare minimum recommended stats of 41 magic and 43 prayer, it's probably closer to 300k. Getting there is easy. You can run through the swamp if you want the long route, or use a Barrows tele-tablet from the Grand Exchange. Quick heads up, we won't be giving you a full guide for any of this content here, that would take way too long. Check the description for my links to my full guides if you want more detail. The brothers are Arim, Darok, Guthan, Peril, Torag and Vorkath. 4 of these brothers hit with melee. Peril is ranged and Arim is magic. That's all you really need to know. Understanding their attack styles is the key to success. You simply need to use the correct prayer to protect against damage. Now, onto the magic method we'll be using. All you need is 41 magic, death runes and an air staff. The brothers are super weak to wind spells, so Wind Blast works perfectly. Armor isn't required, though melee gear helps a bit against Vorkath. Protection prayers block all damage except Vorkath, so expect to tank a few hits from him. Obviously, you can up the DPS by using higher tiered spells or powered staves. This is just the bare minimum. Loot-wise, the chest gives a 1 in 16 chance of a Barrows item. Some, like Arim's top and bottoms, sell for 2 to 3 mil each. But even without a Barrows item, you make consistent GP from the other drops, and completing the Mauritania Hard Diary gives 50% extra runes as a reward from the chest. Costs are low, just some prayer potions, runes, and maybe a few pieces of food. Barrows with magic is low risk, low cost, and beginner friendly, making it the perfect first boss to tackle. Next up, the Giant Mole, an easy solo boss hiding under Falador Park. Minimal mechanics required, just 43 prayer for protection from melee, and 70 attack, strength and defense. This is all essential for our recommended gear, full Daroks. The higher your strength level, the better. It really helps get those big hits. Getting there is easy. Head to Falador, then dig down into the mole's lair with a shovel. You'll need a closed light source, so bring a lantern. Torches and candles can go out. Once inside, you'll have to track down the mole as she burrows and moves around. As advised, Daroks is the best option for armor and weapon, unless you're sweating it out in max gear, in which case, why are you even killing the giant mole, and why are you watching this guide? The mole only uses melee attacks, so protection from melee will block all damage. You don't need food at all, just prayer potions. You can also reduce your HP with a rock cake from Recipe for Disaster or a locator orb from Dragon Slayer 2. This works perfectly with the set effect of full Daroks. The lower your HP, the higher your max hit, letting you kill the mole faster while sitting on 1 HP with nothing to worry about. You'll be fully protected from any attacks by your prayer. You can rake in about 850k per hour here. It might be a little less depending on your attack and strength levels. The drops are consistent, not rare. Mole claws and mole skins every trip, which you can trade with the gardener above the lair for valuable seeds. This makes the GP reliable and repeatable. A quick extra tip, having a Falador Shield 3 or better allows you to track the mole in the lair while she's alive, making it easier to locate her. Overall, the Giant Mole is a low risk and reliable moneymaker, a great way to continue building that bank. Next up, the Perilous Moons, your first real mid-game solo boss. Unlike Barrows or the Giant Mole, the Moons goes beyond simple prayer awareness and teaches you movement mechanics, positioning and timing, making them perfect practice for more advanced PVM. If you want to prep before tackling the Moons, try Succelus or Mokhaiotl, but don't expect too much GP from those. The Moons are where the money starts getting real. you'll unlock this boss fight as part of the Perilous Moons quest. There are 3 moons you'll face: the Blood, Eclipse and Blue Moons. Each has the same basic attack pattern with different special attacks. Watching or reading a guide and knowing what you need to do for each is key. You can access them in Varlamore in the dwarven city of Camtoran under the mountain. To get here easily, use a Pendant of 80s, Perilous Rise. Stats for a smooth fight: 70 plus in your melee stats and 70 prayer recommended for piety. High defense is particularly important here. The gear setup: strong melee gear with a good defensive bonus is the way to go. Any of the Barrows melee armor sets, that's Daroks, Torags, Verax or Guthans, works great. Don't worry about the weapon for the set effect. An Abyssal Whip, Dragon Scimitar, Archon Blade or Glacial Tomotles will do the job. If you want to be really clever, each moon is weak to a different attack style, but sticking with a consistent melee setup is the simplest, especially if you're on a budget. The best thing about this boss is how cheap the supplies are. The fight itself doesn't require food or potions. Everything you need is gathered whilst moving between the moons, making the run completely self-sufficient. The only costs are death fees and repairing degradable weapons or armor. You can expect up to 1.8 mil GP per hour here. That's a reasonable income from consumables like herbs, water orbs and other drops, but the big money comes from armor and weapon sets, just like Barrows. Overall, the Perilous Moons are low to mid risk, and a perfect stepping stone from beginner bosses to mid-game content. They teach mechanics you'll use later, while still rewarding you with consistent GP. Next up, Zulrah. You'll need Regicide completed to get started with her, as she's in the dirty swamps in the Elven lands. The easiest way to reach her is with a Zul'Andra teleport scroll, which drops from Zulrah herself. You can buy them on the GE, but they are quite expensive. A fairy ring works perfectly if you've unlocked it through the Fairy Tale questline. This is your first big step into high-tier GP solo bosses. You can pull at least 2 mil per hour here, pushing up to 4 mil, obviously depending on your luck and efficiency. Zulrah's scales and other skilling supplies give you a fairly reliable income, but the real money comes from the Tanzanite Fang, the Magic Fang and the Serpentine Visage, which can massively boost your GP per hour if you get lucky. Compared to the moons, Zulrah is a level up. You'll need to switch gear on the fly unless you've stacked up some absurd setups like full Ancestral, or a Bofa and full Crystal combo for ranged, and it's not just gear you have to worry about. Prayer switching is required too, alongside movement mechanics and dealing with additional spawns. You can just react to what happens in the fight, that's my preferred method, but most people find learning the different rotations or using the Zulrah Helper plugin much more efficient. My recommended minimum stats: 80 plus ranged, 80 plus magic and 43 plus prayer. And for your gear, you'll want some magic armor and a decent weapon. As a minimum, Bloodbark and a Trident of the Seas will be fine, as well as your range switch to Black Dragonhide and a Dragon Crossbow. Zulrah teaches you timing, rotation management and efficient gear switching, all the skills you'll need for endgame PvM. And the best part, the GP per hour is reliable enough to make this your first true money boss. Once you can clear Zulrah consistently, you'll always have a reliable money printer in your back pocket. Next up is Vorkath, the Money Dragon. She's on the same level as Zulrah, but I've put her higher on the list as the gear requirements are a little less forgiving if you actually want to have fun here. To unlock her, you'll need to complete Dragon Slayer 2. You actually fight a weaker version during the quest, which is a great confidence boost before stepping into the real grind. Once unlocked, you can sail to her island straight from Relica. GP wise, Vorkath sits in the same bracket as Zulrah, around 2 to 4 mil per hour. The big difference is that there are no jackpot drops here. Instead, the money is super consistent. Superior dragon bones dropped every single kill make up the bulk of your profit, with skilling supplies and mid-level armor pieces stacking on top. So, unlike Zulrah, where you're praying for a fang, every trip to Vorkath pays out. As for difficulty, she's pretty comparable to Zulrah, but you're a lot less likely to get comboed out here, making it a much more reliable grind. Like Zulrah being a slightly older boss, there's a lot of unavoidable damage, so expect to burn through some supplies, especially whilst you're learning. When it comes to fighting, you've got 2 solid options. The range method is easier for most players and cheaper to set up. Full Elite Void with a Dragon Crossbow will do the job. The melee method is my personal preference, but at the mid-game stage of your account, you might not have the cash to fund it. You'll want bandos or some similar armor, and a high accuracy weapon like a Dragon Hunter Lance or Osmumtum's Fang. a BGS to lower her defense and speed things up is also super useful. The fight itself is pretty engaging. You'll need to swap prayers, dodge special attacks, and deal with mechanics like poison pools, exploding zombies. You can even learn the iconic Wook's Walk. Once you get the hang of it, it's smooth, repeatable money, and great practice for higher level PvM. Another perk is the upgraded Other's device. She drops a Vorkath head, allowing you to upgrade your Other's accumulator to an Other's assembler. This is untradeable and an important upgrade for Iron Men and mains alike. Overall, Vorkath is a perfect step if you're looking for reliable GP and well-rounded mechanics. You don't have to rely on big-ticket uniques, and you'll leave every single kill richer and sharper as a player. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you're officially locked into the mid-game and starting to eye up those endgame bosses to really stack out your bank. If this video's been useful so far, or you're just enjoying the ride, the best way to support me is simply dropping me a like, hitting subscribe, and letting me know in the comments what your favourite moneymaker is. Or, if you think I've missed a boss that deserves a spot, call me out down there. We're just getting started, the real big boys are coming up. And if you've got any questions, or you just want to hang out with the community, join the Discord or catch me live on Twitch. All the links are in the channel description. This next one isn't really a boss, but honestly, it's added so much value to my bank personally that I have to put them on the list. I'm talking about Tormented Demons. Tormented Demons live in the ancient Gathixian temple, unlocked after whilst Guthix sleeps. Getting there is simple, just use a Gathixian temple teleport, which, funnily enough, drops from the demons themselves. You can walk here through Lumbridge Swamp, but honestly, don't, it's a trek. Money-wise, you're looking at 2.5 to 3.5 mil per hour. The standard loot pays for your supplies, but the real excitement comes from the big ticket drops. Burning Claws and Tormented Synapses. They're not common, but when you do snag one, it's a huge boost to the bank. For your stats, you'll need to have at least 80 plus in 2 combat styles, as you'll be switching between them in accordance with the demon's overhead prayers. I'd recommend melee and range personally. An arc light works great, being a decent demon bane weapon with the best melee gear you've got. Blood Moon gear is great. Eclipse Moon gear with the Atlatl works well for your range set. You can get by with Blue Moon if you want to mage and use dark demon bane spells too. Here's the main reason I recommend them though. They count as greater demons on Slayer tasks. That means whilst you're making GP, you're also stacking some of the best Slayer XP in the game. It's a great overlap, efficient Slayer and solid money at the same time. Mechanically, they're not too punishing. You'll need to switch attack styles and prayers and move quickly to dodge some attacks, but once you get into the rhythm of things, it's pretty chill. Upgraded Demon Bane weapons like the Scorching Bow, Emberlight, or Purging Staff help a lot here too. They make kills noticeably faster. Tormented Demons are one of those bosses that feel pretty good to grind. Decent money, plenty of Slayer XP, and a chance for a massive payday when the RNG comes in. It's a great branch between the mid-game bosses and end-game content that we're about to start tackling on this list. Next up, we've got Duke Succelus, the only Desert Treasure 2 boss I've put on this list. Now, DT2 is probably the hardest quest in the game, but don't stress, Duke is the easier boss of the 4 that it unlocks. The fight itself feels almost bouncy and flowy, with a predictable rhythm that gives you plenty of room for little optimizations to shave off some time each kill. You'll find him in Gorok Prison. The fastest way here is with a Ring of Shadows, but if you don't have one yet, an Icy Basalt teleport and a short run will get you here. Stats wise, I'd recommend 85 plus attack, strength and defense before you start farming him. He is pretty tanky, so bringing a defense reducing special attack weapon like the Bando's Godsword or Dragon Warhammer makes the grind much smoother. For the rest of your gear, melee is obviously the way to go. What makes Duke especially appealing is how well he pairs with the Arc Light. It's free and it hits hard here. It also doubles as your weapon for Tormented Demons. Mechanically, pray melee and avoid the shit on the floor. Hide behind some pillars when he charges up his eye laser. It's a pretty basic fight. It's also got a non-combat prep phase, which is pretty unique. Profit is solid, up to 6 mil per hour. Even without uniques, the GP is decent and repeatable. But if you land a Virtus armor piece or the Magus Vestige, your profit spikes hard. There's also the Soul Reaper Axe, but putting that together requires drops from the other 3 Desert Treasure 2 bosses. It's more of a long-term chase than something you'll grind out here. Overall, Duke is a great entry into the DT2 bosses. Tanky and punishing enough to feel like a challenge, but smooth and flowy once you get into the rhythm of things. Next up is the Phantom Muspah, conveniently parked right next to Duke. Same teleports as before. The Ring of Shadows to land right outside, or an Icy Basalt with a short jog. Now, Muspah is nothing like Duke. Duke feels bouncy and flowy, but Muspah is pure chaos. The fight is constantly changing. 1 second it's slapping you with range, the next it's throwing deadly magic attacks, then it's chasing you around the arena like a crackhead asking for a lighter on a Saturday night. There's also a shield phase where you've got to chip through a massive prayer shield before it nukes you with spikes. This is a fight about reacting fast, flicking prayers on time, and staying sharp. For stats, I'd recommend 85 magic and ranged minimum, with gear around Barrows or Perilous Moons tier or even higher. Most people use both styles, but if you've got some absolutely cracked endgame mage or range setups, you can brute force it with one style, kinda like how people do at Zulrah. Profit wise, you're in the same bracket as Duke at 4 to 6 mil GP per hour. The regular drops cover your supplies easily, but the big payday comes from Venator shards. Piece enough together and you've got the Venator bow, that's the real money maker and the reason Muspah gets farmed. Overall, Muspah is fast paced and requires quick reactions and lots of situational awareness, but once you've got it down, it's smooth. The GP is solid, the uniques are worth chasing, and the fight itself is pretty fun once you get used to the chaos. Alright, let's talk about Tombs of Amascut. The GP per hour here swings either way pretty hard. The raid essentially has an adjustable difficulty level with the invocation system. You can make less than 1 mil an hour at low invocations, or push 10 mil an hour if you're cranking out sweaty high level solos. You'll need Beneath Cursed Sands completed to enter, and the raid is in the necropolis deep in the desert. You'll fight Zebak, Appa, Kefri, Barbar, and the big boss of the raid, Tumakan's Wardens. What makes TOA so good is how accessible it is. You can hop straight into entry mode as a total noob, then slowly stack on invocations until you're printing money. I've put this one on the list instead of the other raids for a reason. Solo accessibility. Chambers of Xeric and Theatre of Blood are very group focused, but TOA lets you jump in solo and learn at your own pace. Then, once you've built confidence, you can always take what you've learned and get involved in group runs, or just crank up the invocation level solo. For your stats, I'd recommend 70 plus in your combat stats to get started. But if you're aiming for high invos, you'll want 90s across the board, with realistically 99s as the end goal. Loot here scales with the invocation level. Low invo runs give you a bit of GP from supplies and resources, whilst high invo runs open the door to the fat uniques. Mosori sets, the Lightbearer, Osmantum's Fang, and of course the Dream Drop, Tumakan's Shadow, which can go for about 800 mil right now. If you've handled the Moons, Zulrah and Vorkath, you'll feel right at home in TOA after a bit of practice. It's the perfect bridge from high mid-game solo bosses into proper endgame mechanics. The best part is that learning doesn't cost you a thing. Just keep death-related invos switched off and you can practice for completely free. Another nice feature, you get to pick your boss order, which makes learning much easier. You can start with whoever you find the easiest, build confidence and work your way up. Overall, TOA is the ultimate solo-friendly raid. It scales with you, teaches you mechanics step by step, and offers a path from noob-friendly solos all the way up to elite endgame group content with some of the fattest rewards in Old School RuneScape. There's so much to cover here, so please check out my full guide if you want to get started, or join the Discord if you're feeling like you want to learn some group TOA straight away. If you thought Phantom Muspah was chaotic, Doom of Mokhaiotl is on a whole new level. This is currently the only delve boss in OSRS, letting you risk your rewards to fight a tougher version indefinitely. As you progress through the waves, new mechanics, obstacles and hazards are added, making each fight more intense than the last. By wave 8 and beyond, the arena is packed with challenges that force you to think and react extremely quickly. Getting here is straightforward though, if you've got the GP. The Mokhaiotl Waystone will teleport you to the arena, but it's a rare, one-time use and expensive item. On a budget, you can run from the Pendant of 80s teleport at Gustori instead. This boss is all about mastering simple mechanics and then dealing with them as they crank up in speed and frequency. Waves 1 to 3 aren't too bad, giving you a chance to learn before things get spicy. Push deep into wave 8 and beyond, and you can hit 17 mil GP per hour. That is crazy money, but it demands quick prayer flicking, dodging moving obstacles, and switching combat styles on the fly. You'll need to have completed the Heart of Darkness, you'll want a range level of 90 plus, as well as Elite Void and a Scorching Bow as a minimum. Regular stream viewers know why I love this boss. It's boosted my bank massively. The Avernic Treads drop is insane. Confliction Gauntlets and the Eye of Ayak are pretty decent too. Mechanically, Doom has it all. It's a long fight when you push into the deep delves, and the way that the hazards stack up make every choice you make count. It's the ultimate test of all the skills you've been practicing on Barrows, Moons, Zulrah, Vorkath, and other mid to high tier solo bosses. Overall, Doom of Mokhaiotl is elite endgame content. The money is ridiculous and the mechanics are intense. It's a boss that rewards skill, preparation, and focus. If you've been grinding this roadmap, mastering Doom is the ultimate solo GP earner at the endgame stage. Remember though, the first few waves are achievable for mid-game players if they're willing to put in a grind a bit. So this could be a fun one to start early, even if the real money making requires some nutty levels of game ability. And that's it, your solo GP roadmap from Barrows all the way to Doom of Mokhaiotl. You've seen it all. Beginner-friendly bosses, mid-game stepping stones, and full-on endgame challenges that will test your mechanics and fill your bank. Remember, this isn't just about the money. Sure, GP helps you upgrade your gear, but the real win is mastering the skills that make every future boss fight easier. Get to grips with all of this stuff, and you'll be set for anything this game can throw at you. This doesn't cover everything, just my favourite methods that I think are useful. There's plenty of other solo content to dive into. The Gauntlet, Fortis Colosseum, the rest of Desert Treasure 2, we've just scratched the surface. This is just content I enjoy and recommend, so like I say, add your 2 cents in the comments below. If you got something out of this guide, smash that like button, subscribe for more PVM tips, and drop a comment letting me know your favourite money maker, or just one that you think deserves a spot on this list. If you got any questions or just want to chat, you know where to find me, Discord or Twitch, links in my channel description. Now, go pick your boss, practice those mechanics, and start stacking that GP. Big thanks to all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers, you guys make all of this possible. If you want to show any extra support, it's totally not necessary, but it is massively appreciated. On YouTube, we've got Omega0240, Matt J, Bad Trip World, Paul Cisneros, Jackson97, Cheer Cannon, Papa Indigo, and Vendat Cole. On Twitch, we've got Keijo Costo, Rajakaz, Jadrux, Omega0240, Buddy V, E is Key, Endless 9, Drunken Sailor, Keneko, Stens, A Beefed Mouse, Crooked Duckus, Zootek, Revins2424, Seeny Moolah, Carlson K, White Lotus, Apex Wolf 91, Matt 3139, Greatfish 12, Rotating Phaser, Mitchell with a 7, Dig Bick 314, Mr. Ryo, Footer 21, Bold Black Jesus, and It's Ruthless. That's it from me. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next time.